Top of the morning to you, traders. This is Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass with your morning look at markets for Wednesday, April 7th. Pretty quiet out there. Yesterday, saw the broad market averages and the FATMAAN names that we've been tracking so closely not do a whole lot, but they've been on a tear. And some digestion and consolidation is to be expected, and actually beneficial just to burn off some of the overbought conditions that we've got out there. So even looking at the markets this morning in the futures, it's 10 minutes to 7 as I'm starting the video. Really not a lot going on out there, mostly flat. I mean, even the oil, gold, precious metals markets, everything's pretty quiet. Toggling up a little bit, toggling down a little bit, but not anything particularly notable. So I think you'll find it interesting when we look at the charts here where things are at, and we'll take a look at where things could possibly be headed. So starting here with SPY. As we always do, we had the gap up the other day, and here's our gap here at 403 to 400, and you can see here that yesterday we just toggled, right? Not really doing anything. We've got a little base here at 405.50. And we've got an uptrend line off the low that we can use as gauges. One thing you don't want to see at this juncture is price losing both this 405.50 shelf of support and the uptrend line. If that were to happen, then what you'd most likely see is a rollover back down to test this gap, and then potentially, to fill that gap, and then we'd be on the wrong side of the trend line. So if you're an active trader, I would be keying off of this 405.50 level. Now, also keep in mind, we are overbought on the RSI, and we do have this potential PPO bear cross setting up on momentum here. So you don't want to get a situation like this where momentum rolls over, RSI rolls over, price rolls over and loses this trend line and support. That would portend a corrective move, which it's fine. You just, time frame is everything. Are you shooting for Friday, or are you in a longer term type position? And if price comes back in and fills this gap and back tests 400, I think you can buy it there, right? Breakout, back test, and then go. So it's all in the eye of the beholder and the time frame that you're shooting for. But a little bit of a pullback wouldn't be such a bad thing to burn off these excesses, back test the breakout zone, and then go from there. And here on the 30-minute chart, you see the same thing. We've got a nice uptrend on RSI. We broke that yesterday. We've had a little bit of a rollover in momentum, but we're holding this 405.50 area on price. So even though these have come back, we haven't really seen much of a pullback in price. And here again, I've got the uptrend line for you to gauge things, and this shelf of support here at 405.50 along with the gap. So for you short-term traders, you can use these levels and the uptrend line and the gap as your key reference points for your trading. Qs. most of the FATMAAN names, the big market cap, the market leading names, took yesterday off after a big couple of days early in the week. So we saw that reflected in the Qs, where here, this was the gap up, and then the push. We had filled a gap back here during that process, and now we've got a shelf of support forming right here at 330. And the same kind of thinking holds in the Qs as with SPY. Price knows that there's resistance at 334. You can see it here. And then the next overhead target would be at 337 at the prior high. If you were to lose 330, I think you probably come back in here to 327, test the top of this gap. And like we say, a lot of times on the first touch of a gap that hasn't been tested before, that you'll get a bounce off of that. So come down here to 327. If you had gotten short in this area, cover it there, anticipate a bounce. But if it then rolls over again, then it fills on the second try. So let's look at it here on the 30-minute chart, and you can see it. So we had several tags of this 330 level. So from a technical standpoint, we know that 330 is real. Why? We got a touch here, we got a touch here, and we got a touch here. And so that level's been validated with 3 separate touches. Now we know that if price were to drop below, that would be a nice objective short-term short, and your target would be 327. But unless 330 breaks, bulls are fine and you can stay long. So I think 330 is definitely your pivot point there today, keeping in mind the trend line and the gap in this 330 support. IWM was nothing yesterday, just kind of back and forth here. We tested 224 on the low side, and we went back up and validated this prior high up towards 226. I think today you can be long against 224, but if it breaks below, then you're probably going to come back in here to 221. Depending on what it does pre-market, if it opens, in this 225 area, I think you can be long there, looking for 229. I don't get that real, risk on feel this morning, but hey, things change quickly, and if you get a move above this last candle here, I think you can be long. But if you get a breakdown below 224, I think there's room to come back and retest this 221 zone where there was shown to be resistance before. Here it is on the 30-minute chart, blow up. You can see here lots of tags of 224. If you were to get back above, recapture 225, you can get long there for a push up towards 228, 230. Notice here the large volume over price bar. So there's been a lot of transactions in this zone here. I wouldn't be surprised if price thrashes around in here today before resolving, but this bar is important because if it can clear it convincingly, then that's going to be a nice level of support going forward. And if ultimately the opposite happens, it drops below, this becomes even more of a resistance level between 224 and 225. So it's relatively important. Now, as we go into the FATMAAN names, if you're new to the channel, I really appreciate you visiting. I hope you're gaining some benefit from the commentary and getting these levels that have worked so well for us as active traders of the indexes and FATMAAN names. Please hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell so you get notification of all my content. And then over in the show notes, links to the blog site where you'll find a ton of articles that you should find helpful being an aspiring trader, and also a place to register for all my content where you'll get it, anything that I publish, right to your email box. And you'll also get an invite to our trading room where you'll find quite a number of guys and gals working hard to improve their trading. And, as independent traders, it's always nice to be part of a community. You don't want to feel like you're alone at your trade station wrestling with the markets by yourself. So that's a place to not only get a lot of good ideas, but have camaraderie with other traders that are working hard to improve. And we each have good and bad days, and we can help each other out when those times hit. We can celebrate together, and we can lift each other up when things don't go our way. So I invite you to do that. All right, moving on to the FATMAAN. Facebook. Big impulsive move. Just a little consolidation yesterday. Things remain bullish. I think it just, as long as it can hold the breakout above 305, it's all good. So I wouldn't even bat an eye if there's more consolidation, as long as it holds 305. What you really don't want to see are closes, back below 305, 300, 295. You'd like to see that breakout hold to give you confidence that it's real, and that once consolidation and digestion of the move happen, that it can extend. So keep 305 in the crosshairs. Apple. Impulsive move. Digestion at 123, which was resistance. Impulsive move with an extended move up to 127, where it knows that's where resistance lies. Support, fail. Breakout, fail. Touch, resistance. And now back to resistance again. So that 127 is definitely real, and price knows it. So it's consolidating just below. And what often happens is that once this decides to go, I wouldn't be surprised if you got a gap higher at a certain point that just, jumps right over this difficult spot in the chart. We actually saw it here. This 120.50 was a long-standing problem, gapped higher over it. Then we had another gap higher over 123. It reached back to touch it, but initially it gapped higher. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, today, tomorrow, the next day, with some more consolidation under 127, when it decides to go, just gap above and then drive higher. But at any rate, a recapture of 127, however it does it, is going to be a technical buy with a target, first target up at 130 and then 132. Tesla, not much going on, just toggling, consolidating, digesting, however you want to put it, between 685 and 710. We had the gap higher, pullback, made another run at 710, pulled back. So depending on how active you want to be, you can be long against this 685. You can certainly get long on a break above 710, and then you can look towards 725 and up towards 800 at that point. Once this big level, resistance, 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 has been taken out, you can be pretty confident then on a move above 710 that becomes then your line in the sand. All this will become support, and then you can take your shot long against that new level at 710. Microsoft building a nice 60-minute bull flag, impulsive move, tight bull flag, impulsive move, consolidating, and a bull flag. You get a break above 250. I think it can see 255, 260. If we take this measured move and extend it from here, from say 247, that measures out to like 257, just eyeballing it. So a couple ways to play that. You could set your alarm at 250 on the breakout above the flag as a buy, or if you got to move back down here at the bottom side of the flag at 247, you could get long there at the bottom of the flag with a stop just below. And at the very least, you're shooting for a move back up to the top of the flag. That's a $3 move. But then with any luck, you get a breakout, and then you're already long from lower levels. So, since we are at the lower half of this flag, that may not be a bad way to go. And then if it drops out of the flag, you're just stopped out. And then possibly if price comes back here towards 244, 245 for a back test of the breakout, you can try another long, because that's also a common technical move, right? To break out, back test, and then go. But this looks like a bull flag to me. And I think 247 would be a nice objective entry. Or if you want to be more conservative, you can just wait for the breakout. But I mean, it's a bullish setup. So until we get information otherwise, I'd be looking for a long. Same thing with Amazon. Move higher. It knows 3250 is resistance. Consolidating right below. Anything above 3250 is a long. And your first target's going to be 3300. Your second target's going to be 3350. Keep working those $50 increments. And yeah, bullish setup. I would take note of this bear cross here and this RSI trendline violation. You might see a pullback into 3200 here today. If it gets soft, I would buy that. I would buy that right there on that pullback to 3200 with a stop just below, because that is going to be a support level. So that's what I would do at that point. I would have a bullish bias. If it came back into 3200, I would get long, and with a stop just below, and be ready to stop out if it breaks below that level. But I think it's going higher. I have no reason to believe anything else at this point. Google, another nice bullish flag consolidation, right? Big move. Big move. now consolidating between, let's just call it 2200 and 2225, maybe 2228. I would handle this the same way that I handled Microsoft. You can get long at the bottom of the flag, which is, let's say, 2222, something like that. No, not that. What is that? Like 2205, let's call it. I didn't put the exact figure on it, but you can see here at the bottom of the flag, you could get long with, say, a stop at 2200, and then you're shooting for, at a minimum, a $25 move back up to the top of the flag, and then with any luck, get the breakout. So you've got a real good objective, low-risk entry point at the bottom of the flag. I think that would be a good approach to take. The risk there, of course, is that it rolls out of this and comes back to test this breakout at 2100. I'm not expecting that, but you got to have it somewhere in your scenario file that it could happen. But this is certainly set up to go higher. And yesterday, I think we looked at the weekly chart where on a measured move basis, we're looking for 2400, 2450. But given the size of this move, we might be in for, a multi-week consolidation just to digest this, $200 move. So that's 10% in just a couple of days. So anyways, that's something to be prepared for. Netflix. Yesterday we talked about price was right here. We got a gap higher and then a run to 552.50. Again, this level was validated. Why? Support, support, resistance, 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 resistance. So price knows that level for sure. It backed off, came almost all the way back. I think your objective level here this morning is 542.50. If you get a pullback into 542.50, I think you try a shot long and look for a move back to 552, which is $10. That's worth a try. I didn't look where it was pre-market, but your second buy would be on a break above 552.50, and then you're looking for a move back up to 565, which is that upper range from way back when, back in February. So nice run off the lows. Really looking at these $10 increments that have worked so well. Breakout, back test, breakout, back test, breakout, back test. I think it's just stair-stepping its way higher. And I think the place you look to get in, if you want to be in, is on a back test here this morning of 542.50. Let's wrap it up there. Keep trading level to level. I think the bias should be bullish. Keeping in mind, though, that we could get some more consolidation, digestion of the big move. We've got earnings around the corner, which is bullish. There seems to be a risk on sentiment out there. I don't see anything in the charts leading me to believe some big rug pull is imminent. But that said, always have your stops in place. Keep your head on a swivel. I wouldn't be surprised if there's, a back test of the breakout at some point, but be ready to buy at that level. That's a common technical move and one I think we need to be prepared for. So let's wrap it up there. I hope you have a good, strong day of trading. This has been Chris Buss with Trader's Profit Compass. Talk to you next time.